What's wrong? Hey, we gotta laugh. Come on. I'm not gonna talk unless you guys laugh, okay? All right? I'm not.
That's what Howie tells us every week.
Hey, there you go.
Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. I tell you, that's the only guy smiling on Planet Blue right now. It's been tough for Kentucky football, just one hit right after another. And to have his take on that will be Daryl Bird. But first, he always likes to get in a little punch on Planet Red.
Absolutely. If you're joking, you might as well laugh because the alternative is to cry. Louisville fans are so happy today, guys, because they've heard Charlie Strong come out on national radio. Loyalty, you got to stay. How many coaches in the past have said, I'm loyal to where I am. They gave me my chance. I have to stay. We'll see.
And Howie Lindsey's not going anywhere. He and Charlie are match pair. You guys are going to stay here forever, aren't you?
Absolutely. And what's that, guys? I couldn't hear you over the sound of UK laughter around UK's football program. Good job, Joker, there. No, hey, we want to believe it. We just want a coach to say he loves us. That's all Louisville fans really want.
We're going to talk about all those delicious topics and more right now in our Game Time Storylines. This portion of the Red and Blue Review brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, reminding you to share the road with motorcycles. Our Game Time Storyline topic number one is Max Smith, now out for the year, presumably after getting injured in the game against Western and then again against South Carolina. So now the question is, how does Kentucky move forward without their number one quarterback?
And injuries happen, but yeah, this was a position that we did feel good about. Guy was playing at a high level. It's probably as high as anybody I have been around, at this phase of his career. Again, we understand it. He understands it. It happens. We got to get the next two guys ready to play.
Yeah, obviously, the story of the day is what happens next, but I don't want to leave without at least paying a little homage here. Max Smith was having a great year. To win the job, and all throughout you kept wondering, why in the world are they redshirting Toles? You found out because Max Smith played really well, and to take a hit like this, and we've all known the athletes who do this, and he's got such a lonely, tough road ahead of him as far as rehab, because you have to go do it by yourself, and your teammates are with you, but they can't be with you all the time, so it's really a tough deal to go through, and you feel really bad for the kid.
And I asked Randy Sanders after the game the other night, was that a clean hit? And he goes, man, that's playing quarterback in the SEC. Nothing dirty about it. No. That's just football.
That's just football, and it just happens that way.
Game Time Storyline number one for the Louisville side of it is good news from the Charlie Strong Death Watch. Is he going to stay at Louisville or is he going to jump off to Arkansas? That question was posed to him by Jim Rome on the radio this week. He replied, the coach did, that he's happy in Louisville and plans to stay there, and then he talked with us afterwards.
You know what? We're 5 games into the season. He asked me that question. I answered it, but we're 5 games into it. My focus is this football team, and that's the only thing I'm ever concerned about, what I have right now.
It was a good answer from Charlie Strong when he was talking to Jim Rome. He essentially said, these guys gave me my shot. I can't leave while I'm still building this thing. Now, does his version of building the thing, does that mean go to a BCS Bowl?
Yeah.
Does that mean go to multiple BCS Bowls? Does that mean a national championship? I think that's the only real leeway. But I think when you hear a coach talk like Charlie Strong did on the Jim Rome show, he really kind of backed himself into a corner. Louisville fans aren't used to that. They're used to hearing Bobby Petrino say, I'm happy right now, as of 3:33 p.m. Like, that's what they're used to. Charlie said, I'm building. I don't want to leave while I'm building. I can't do that to these recruits while I'm building this program. Louisville gave him my shot. So he kind of cut off some of those natural avenues that people would come back and say, well, you didn't say this, you didn't say that.
And then Tom Jurich came out and said if somebody does offer, he's going to match dollar for dollar any other thing. So it's not about money. Would the potential of Louisville being stuck in a bad league be enough to encourage Charlie that it's about more than the big paycheck, it's big opportunities looking for?
I think for Louisville it's about, can you compete at the highest level? And can you go to a major bowl game? Can you get in whatever eventual playoff that is? As of right now, yes. Even if they're in the Big East, yes, they could be there. Now, what happens in the next 2 years? Who knows? I mean, whether they go to the Big 12, whether further access is cut off by the other 5 leagues, which could happen, certainly. You just don't know after that. But or whether, even if Louisville does have that access now, whether Charlie believes that they've got that access now. So I think from Louisville's standpoint, what they've said is, listen, we'll give you all that you need. You know, you got the weight room, you want a new locker room, you want this, you want that. We'll pay for all that. We'll pay for all your different salaries. we'll be as competitive as we can possibly be. It's got to be up to you to want to stay at Louisville. That's all you can do.
Now, Charlie told you he hadn't really thought about it until Jim asked the question, and we'll grant him that that hasn't come up. So does that give you pause in any way to think, well, if the coach really hasn't thought of it, how definitive of a statement is it really? Because even in the interview you had, he said, right now I haven't really thought about it. It's how I feel right now.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. What was interesting, his answer at practice that we just saw was much less definitive than he was with Jim Rome. He had an opportunity there after practice with the local media to reiterate those points, and he didn't take it.
Yeah.
So, from that standpoint, I can understand why Louisville fans are saying, hey, wait a minute, why didn't he just say what he just said on the radio?
Yeah. Everybody's negotiating. It's always negotiating. Game time storyline number 3, again, involves quarterbacks at the University of Kentucky. They're going to play 2 freshmen against top 20 Mississippi State. Of course, it's going to be Patrick Towles and Jalen Whitlow. And at least now, among those two, Jalen Whitlow would be considered the grizzled veteran.
This week, I paid a little bit more attention to him after he came off the sideline, and he was as poised as, as I've ever seen a true freshman go in a game. He was able to give us back information, that we needed. He was seeing things well. Some things that he didn't some motions, some shifts that he struggled with at times. But those are things that we might have to give up, just to give him a chance to play a little bit faster. So, but I really like what I saw in his eyes during the game.
Jalen Whitlow did exactly what I thought he would do. He has great athletic ability, as we see here. I don't know if he made enough reads or if the pocket fell apart, so he just took off running. But to play him and take advantage of his athleticism, you have to revamp that entire offense. You spent the spring and fall camp implementing just for Maxwell Smith's skill set, and he can make some plays for you, and you come out and you say, wow, that whole first half he played really well. He had these guys beating South Carolina. Second half, did South Carolina make adjustments, and Whitlow didn't know what to do about it, inexperienced. He's tried to make some runs against some of those speed guys you cannot do at this level, and second half was not nearly as pretty as the first half. The UK, they've already said they're going to play both, try to take advantage of both skill sets. Just a question, we're going to have to watch it play out. Which one do you end up doing the majority of? And if you do it with Whitlow, you're going to change your offense and take a lot of skill players out of it.
Let me tell you one reason I think Kentucky's got a chance, even playing 2 inexperienced quarterbacks, to beat Mississippi State at home. Matt Rourke. In a week, they took a wide receiver and adapted an offense around a wide receiver and one. If you've got 2 guys who are playing the position, I think Joker's got a shot this week to at least do something with guys who play the position.
Yeah, I don't think you say, oh, you got 2 true freshmen, so this game's over. I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
They're pinning their future on both these guys. Future got here a little quicker than they wanted. How I can talk to that? I mean, Teddy Bridgewater was thrown into it. They did all right. It wasn't the SEC, but they did just fine. See what happens when UK throws 2 true freshmen into it.
Well, Louisville is definitely winning games this year. They most likely would have lost last year. Charlie says his team is tougher. That's leading to tougher wins.
With us being into the program 3 years, it's our football team. So it's the toughness is there, and it's everything you're looking for. And those games that we were losing by 7 last year, we're winning by 7 this season. So now that the guys, now that you've had them in your program, they understand it. They understand how to compete, and they're playing with confidence. And that's what you like about this football team. Now, you look at the past 2 seasons. This is just a totally different football team.
You can see a different type of swagger, maybe not through the rain in this picture, but you can normally see a different type of swagger for Louisville. They're not necessarily playing well this season, except for the first half against North Carolina, but they're winning, and they continue to win, and you can tell that this team believes that they should win. That was not the case last year, and that was not the case the previous year especially. So in terms of culture of the program, you can tell a big difference in how these guys present themselves on the field and how they compete in the third and fourth quarter.
I think we're seeing this collection of players really mimic what they see out of their coaches. I think you see Charlie Strong personified in these players.
Absolutely. And you see, Kenny Carter, and you see Clint Hurt, and you see Brian Jean-Marie. These coaches are that kind of tough, hard-nosed, believe I'm always going to win kind of, and because they've come from championship programs. I mean, you look across the board, and all those guys have rings. They've got rings for a reason, and I think the players are kind of getting that.
Well, the fans have been demanding it ever since Patrick Towles announced last, I guess it was February, that he was going to be a Kentucky Wildcat. This weekend, they'll get to see him. They'll pull the red shirt off of Patrick Towles, and the true freshman, the true Kentucky native, will be playing in the SEC come Saturday.
You know, you see a guy that's really confident and, guy that's, yelling, screaming, and trying to get the scout team jacked up. And we need him to get our #1 offense on that level also. So that's the thing that I've seen in him, and he's a lot more vocal since he's been down on the scout team. Again, he's been around those guys a lot more on the scout team, and feels like he's the leader of those guys. He's been in the weight room with them. He's been down on the scout team with them, and so he's feeling comfortable and being vocal down there. Now we need him to be up with the ones, and he will be. I mean, that's his personality.
That's going to be the best thing going for him. His personality is just the way he's raised, the way he's played. Very vocal quarterback. This is my huddle. I was talking to some of the offensive linemen. Whitlow was thrown into that game last week. They couldn't hear him calling the plays. He was so bashful about it. You don't have to worry about that with Pat Towles. He's going to come out and command it. And I think that what Joker's saying there is tremendous news. He came to Kentucky wanting to be the starting quarterback. He gets redshirted, put on the scout team. You don't see pouting. Yeah. You don't see, I'm just tanking it for the rest of the year. He's trying to make the scout team beat the #1 defense every week in practice. So that's a very good sign going forward. He can step in and start commanding this huddle, even though these guys haven't seen him on the field the entire season.
Now, Darryl, what is this going to do when Mitch Barnhart goes to make his analysis at the end of the year that we don't know how long Max is going to be out, but for whatever it is, he's going to have two true freshmen playing in the SEC. How will that impact Mitch's decision-making?
I kind of meant it half jokingly, but if I'm Joker at Monday's press conference, I'm laughing too. You ain't firing me now. I got two true freshmen out there. The only way you could fire him at this point is if the team lays down on him, and that's not going to happen with the personalities they have. They are not going to quit. They've lost Maxwell Smith. We just found out they lost Koshik Williams, starting running back, out for the year. They're losing pieces left and right. You cannot, if they will compete, the only break they have caught, they are running out Whitlow and Towles, but it's not against Florida and South Carolina. It's against Mississippi State, then Arkansas. So you got a couple of games to get some feel-good going back before Georgia rolls into town.
If they see some hope, he'll be back.
They're right.
All right, well, coming up next, the Cardinal defensive front said, give me 5, and they quit right there. We'll tell you why that's a problem for Charlie Strong after Darryl tells us about something that was a problem for Louisville during basketball season.
Absolutely, and these are going very well. The Cat's Paws is the only place on the entire planet you can find a DVD of the actual game from the Final Four, Kentucky's 69-61 win over Louisville in New Orleans. We had it commissioned just for us to get those into print and selling very well, as you might imagine. Only $24.95. You can find them at shopcatspaws.com.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
I want to be the president.
A news anchor.
A Division I basketball player.
A writer.
An investment banker.
A zookeeper.
A surgeon. I want to play field hockey in the Olympics.
I want to go to Columbia University.
I want to grow up and have a family.
When I grow up, I just want to be alive.
Think
before you drink.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and riding. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, check out Allstate Ford's pre-owned inventory at allstatetrucks.com. Large selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Also, a nice selection of Ford-certified pre-owned vehicles. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
Yeah, I think it is exciting. I can tell you this: the team we're about to play has no idea what they're about to get. You know, we really don't know what we're about to get, but we're gonna go for it. All right.
Joke, I feel you, brother. I feel that every week on this show. I'm just sitting here dodging bullets, just hoping I survive to the next weekend. We are going to talk in this segment about Louisville perhaps winning the Big East, as they were predicted to do, and Kentucky finding another foe in the SEC. That this week being Mississippi State. And this Mississippi State team, you kind of thought Kentucky had survived it after they got past Florida and South Carolina. Now here come the Bulldogs, ranked in the top 20, unbeaten, and a lot better than those Mississippi State teams your grandfather remembers.
This guy's a drop back passer, and you're seeing him do that a lot more. But they still have their counter run game, which is a real physical run, downhill run that they have. They always carry that, I'm sure. It's the way it looks, but you're seeing them spread the field and want to throw the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, this is a different. Remember, the coach is Dan Mullen, who was under Urban Meyer, so he's from Urban's coaching tree, and it's different. They spread it out. They play a little bit of a Florida style. They kept the old Mississippi State run game, and they kept the great defense that was Jolie Dunn used to have years ago. It's a different style, but they're still really good defensively. But that is still, when you're UK and you're in the SEC, and you look at Florida and a lot of years Tennessee and Georgia and South Carolina, you have to look at Mississippi State as that's one we can get. That's one we can steal. And even though they're number 19 and undefeated, that still is one of the opportunities on your schedule, and you have to go take advantage of it.
Well, after getting a lot of well-deserved criticism in the offseason, the Big East is kind of flexing their muscles a little bit. Nobody ranked really when the poll started, unless you consider Louisville, and some folks had Cincinnati getting a few nods when the season began. But right now, 3 Big East teams in the top 25, and Charlie says the Big East is getting some respect.
Well, it's just about respect, and the league is getting the respect it deserves, because a lot of times, you look at it, people say, what a Big East, and they say the Big East doesn't have anybody. But just having the teams ranked, I think it's just speaks volumes of this league.
Who's having the best month ever? It's the Big East. The Big East is having a great month. They've got 3 undefeated teams, 3 teams ranked in the top 25. The ACC only has 2, by the way, including the 2 teams that they're going to add from the Big East. Neither one are ranked. The Big East has also had its top coach in Charlie Strong staying in the Big East. They've also added plans for a new $20 to $40 million bowl game for their champion, which gives them access in this future playoff kind of system. I'm telling you, it's the best month ever for the Big East. Whatever Mike Oresco's doing up there, he of course isn't playing these games for these guys, but they're really having a great month. Now, the fear is it all comes crashing down to a halt in October when Big East teams start beating up on each other like they did last year. If 1 or 2 of those teams can stay undefeated longer, if Cincinnati and Louisville can stay undefeated to the point where they play each other, that'd be the best thing for the Big East.
Well, what's the biggest win for a Big East team now? If you look outside of Louisville, who's really had a marquee win?
You've got the couple of wins over Virginia Tech. Those are both good wins. You've got several other teams that have got, Rutgers going down to Arkansas was a fairly difficult game, but Arkansas played pretty poorly.
Yep.
So you've got teams that have won and out of conference. Now the question is, can they look good going in conference? Because there really aren't a whole lot of more out of conference games, and so I think it's all about having those 2 teams stay undefeated for as long as possible. I don't think Rutgers will, but I think Cincinnati and Louisville are the 2 that could continue that kind of be in the top 20 nationally.
Yeah, and give Rutgers a chance to spoil the deal again at the end of this season.
Don't remind me of that. It was a Jeremy Ito kick, and oh man.
Yeah. Well, you think it's tough getting 1 freshman ready to play quarterback in the SEC. Well, Kentucky has 2 freshmen getting ready to play in the SEC, which could mean double trouble for Randy Sanders and the Cats.
And you don't really know until they get into the games what they feel comfortable. All the things that we'd practice, with Jalen, some of them you would call, and motion wouldn't get called, the shift wouldn't get called. So you really don't understand. Everybody thinks it's easy. It's difficult to get a true freshman ready to play with all the things that are involved, especially with some of the defenses that we see. And we're about to play our third SEC team is coming in here with a lot of confidence, undefeated, ranked in the top 25. And it becomes difficult to get the guys ready.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, Howie's saying that the Big East has 2 teams undefeated or 2 teams ranked, whatever. UK's played 3 top 25 teams in a row in the SEC. Good grief, that's ridiculous. But it is tough. And the challenge I have, you remember a couple weeks ago or last week, they were talking that Jalen Whitlow probably knew 10% of the offense, and he gets in there and he missed some adjustments you have to make. You have to put guys into motion. If you don't, they're going to come free and kill you. So you got to be able to do those. And they're like, well, we have to give those up. Now you're bringing Patrick Tolles in, who all they know is what he knew from reading the playbook until they practiced 3 times to see who's ready to go out there and play an SEC game.
Well, Louisville has 5 sacks this football season. 5 total. That's it. And that's given Charlie Strong a little heartburn.
Well, if you look at us on defense, it was just because of the teams that we played and with the spread offenses, we've been in the backfield, but we just haven't finished with the sacks. The tackle for lost plays is where you don't show. That isn't showing up right now in the defensive stats, and that's what you would like to see us get: the tackle for losses, get the sacks, and just get off the field on 3rd down. They're completing some balls, and we got to challenge. We have to challenge routes more.
Yeah, it's amazing that Louisville only has 5 sacks. That's 1 per game so far this year. When you think about all throughout the offseason, the talk was, yes, Louisville's going to return all these guys in the secondary, but their defensive line is actually going to be the strength of this team. They're going to pressure quarterbacks. They're going to get in the backfield. They're going to make it extremely difficult for people to run. They've done the last one, but they haven't done the first 2. They've been a good run defense, only allowing about 100 yards a game. But they haven't got into the backfield, and they haven't really pressured even all that well. They've only got 5 sacks and not as many tackles for a loss either. I think that they're just frustrated. They want to play a team that has an actual real quarterback that does like the 5-step drop, 3-step drop. There's not a whole lot of those anymore in college football.
Well, is it possible that Kentucky could have too much of a good thing when it comes to football? We'll talk about that when we come back. As we head to the break, Howie's going to tell us about LouisvilleSports.com or CardinalSports.com.
You got it, CardinalSports.com. It's the best place for all your Louisville news. We got video, we've got recruiting updates. There's a great recruiting hotboard on there. Louisville's almost done with the 2013 class, but you can check out on CardinalSports.com the whole basketball recruiting hotboard. Who are they recruiting for 2014? If you want to get the magazine, it comes out each week. 502-636-4330 can be delivered to your door. If you want to check it out online, try LouisvilleSportsNews.com.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
I want to be the president.
A news anchor.
A Division I basketball player.
A writer.
An investment banker. A zookeeper.
A surgeon. I want to play field hockey in the Olympics.
I want to go to Columbia University.
I want to grow up and have a family.
When I grow up, I just want to be alive.
Think.
Before you drink.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and riding. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, check out Allstate Ford's pre-owned inventory at allstatetrucks.com. Large selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Also, a nice selection of Ford certified pre-owned vehicles. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
What needs fixing on the Red and Blue Review? Brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvements.
What needs fixing for Kentucky next year is going to be the roster that when Max Smith comes back, they're going to have 3 sophomore quarterbacks.
If we'd have redshirted Max last year, he wouldn't have been able to get it this year. So I just think it's best to go ahead and play them all 3 of them. They all will be sophomores, with 2 having an opportunity to redshirt down the road if something happens. And in this game of football, something can happen, and we all understand that.
The Joker appropriately said immediately, he said, it'll all work itself out. And he's right, it will. It's a bad situation, but there's not a thing you can do about it. And with what he's facing, 2 true freshmen the rest of the way, I'll worry about 3 quarterbacks next year. I got enough on my plate right now to worry about how I'm going to resolve that question. It will. Somebody will win the competition, and somebody will probably transfer it just the way it plays out, regardless of what school you're at.
What needs fixing at Louisville is the players need to play till the clock says 00.
But that's where we have to improve, and that's what you have to talk to the kids about. But you're so young, a lot of times they get relaxed because they're thinking, hey, the game's over. It's never over. It's a 60-minute game. Play through it to the ending.
Louisville's got to figure out how to read the clock effectively. They didn't do that against North Carolina. The mess was down in Southern Miss. You got to see improvement heading into Big East.
What you have to learn to do is to tell how much time is left and know when to quit, which is what I do every week right here on the Red and Blue Review. See how easy that is?
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
The Red and Blue Review is brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvement Company, the Bachman Auto Group, Sam Swope, SWAT Team Pest Control, Joe's OK Bayou, PNC Bank, Allstate Ford Truck Sales, and the Ali Center.
To save more lives this summer, we've stepped up highway law enforcement. So don't forget to buckle up, don't speed, and don't drive under the influence. Because this summer, we're going to have Kentucky completely covered. Blue lights across the bluegrass.
No excuses, no exceptions.